Hi folks, this is Pastor Sarah, and I am about to tell a story for our lower elementary kids. The story for the month of March is the story of Jesus' Last Supper. And there are parts of the story that I think you will recognize. They might be familiar words, or familiar actions, or familiar images. I hope that you will enjoy this story. Every year in the spring, people would celebrate the Passover. Many people would travel to Jerusalem for the Passover. Jesus was leading his disciples toward Jerusalem. Some of Jesus' disciples were afraid. Not everyone liked the things that Jesus was teaching. And some people who didn't like Jesus' teachings were threatening to hurt him. Jesus' disciples tried to convince Jesus not to go to Jerusalem. But he said, "No, we must go." When they arrived in the city, Jesus sent his disciples to find a room. Some of the disciples went, and they found a room with a table big enough for everyone to gather. Jesus and his disciples gathered around the table, and they shared a meal. But Jesus led the Passover meal in a different way than the disciples had ever heard. When he took the bread, he said, "This is my body, given for you." He blessed the bread, and he broke it and shared it with all of his disciples. He also took the cup and blessed the cup and said, "This cup is the new promise from God. It is my blood." And he passed the cup to all of the disciples. After this, Jesus and his disciples went into a garden to pray. And when they were there, it happened. The thing his disciples were afraid of happened. The people who were angry at what Jesus was teaching came, and they took Jesus. They were so angry that they didn't want Jesus alive anymore. He died on a cross. and the disciples were so sad. But that's not the end of the story, because 3 days later, Jesus was alive again. And that is why we keep telling this story of the meal he ate with his disciples. I wonder how the disciples felt when Jesus was sharing bread and a cup with them. I wonder what they thought when Jesus said that that bread was his body. I wonder if these disciples knew that this was going to be their last dinner with Jesus. I wonder if there are times when you share bread and drinks with people around a table. I wonder if there is a time when you have seen bread and a cup like this at church. That is the end of our story video, but I hope it won't be the end of you thinking about this story and imagining how it happened. Maybe you'll want to draw a picture of this story or act it out yourself at home. You don't have to have things that look exactly like ours. You can bring together toys that you have in your house and set it up almost like a tea party. Have a little Last Supper party at your house. Or maybe when you're around the table with your family, you can take a piece of bread and break it and say, I want to do this to remember the Last Supper that Jesus had with his friends. And you can share the bread with your family. There are lots of ways that we can continue to think about this story and learn from it. I hope that you have a wonderful March and that you are going to enjoy sunshine and warmer weather as it comes our way. Take care.